So I got a question here. How do I make a strong offer when I'm buying real estate? And that is kind of an open-ended question because the answer is it really depends on the specifics of the deal. It depends on the specifics of the seller's wants and needs. Every single listing that you see is going to have a different situation attached to it. What I can tell you is that from personal experience, when I bought my house, I made sure to ask the listing agent on the transaction what was important to the seller. And I think that that is kind of the key takeaway in this question is that's working with a skilled real estate agent is very important because they will be able to communicate and sort of suss out what those important factors are to the seller. So for me, when I purchased my house, the seller on this house was buying another house, right? I asked them if it was important or if it was valuable for them to close quickly. Um, and I offered them $10,000 less than their asking price on the house, right? I closed the loan in 14 days. So we closed the transaction start to finish in 14 days. We had a 3-day inspection period where we just did basic due diligence to make sure there's nothing majorly wrong with the house. And because I was able to save them, or because I was able to close so quickly, they avoided having to take out something called a bridge loan on the sale of this house to purchase their other house, which saved them over $10,000. So because they were in that situation, and because I was able to kind of meet their needs and solve a problem for them, it was a wash for them. If I closed in 30 days and gave them 400,000 compared to closing in 15 days and giving them 390, the amount of money that was in their pocket was the same either way. So because we asked and we found out that this was a situation that they were in, and we made that offer, hey, we can close extremely quickly, but we're going to pay you a little bit less money. It might have actually ended up in their favor by a couple $1,000s, where they actually pocketed more money by taking less and closing quickly. So um, like I said, the takeaway on this is it really just depends. How do you make a competitive offer? Is you communicate with your real estate agent. You have a skilled real estate agent who communicates with the seller's real estate agent to find out what their needs are. For somebody, it might be offering full list price and they have 6 months. They already own their other house. It just doesn't, it doesn't. They don't have a loan, so there's no debt service, and it just doesn't matter. They're going to hold out for that, for that extra ten or $15,000 on the house. For another person, closing in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or closing within a month, maybe maybe advantageous. For some other people, I have somebody I'm dealing with right now who has some deferred maintenance. They have like some work that needs to be done on their house. Um, and they don't have the money to do the work, right? To bring the problem, like they're not going to fully renovate. They need a new water heater, stuff like that. So somebody who comes in that situation and offers this particular seller basically says, "Hey, I'll give you a little bit less money for the house, but you don't need to worry about fixing any of this stuff. We're aware that the water heater needs to be replaced, and we are pricing that into our offer." Like that's going to be a more attractive offer than somebody who offers them 10,000 extra dollars but says, "Hey, we want you to fix all of this stuff." So it's very uniquely, it's very unique to the seller. Work with a good real estate agent who knows what they're doing and is able to communicate effectively. That is my number one sort of catch all advice for this question.